Good afternoon. You may be seated. Thank you. Welcome to Huron's Faculty of Arts and Social Science Graduate Celebration. This is one of the happiest days of the year for us here at Huron. We would like to acknowledge the history of the traditional territory in which Huron operates. We would like to respect the long-standing relationships of the three local First Nations groups of this land and place in southwestern Ontario. The three First Nations communities closest in proximity to Huron University College are Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, part of the Anishinaabe, Oneida Nation of the Thames, part of the Haudenosaunee, and Munsee Delaware Nation, part of the Lenni Lenape. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Porter. It is my pleasure to serve as the chair of Huron's Board of Governors, and my honor to welcome you to Huron's Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences Graduate Celebration. Thank you all for being here as we join together to recognize and celebrate the achievements of our 2023 graduates. In a few hours, the class of 2023 will receive their degrees at Convocation in Alumni Hall. This particular ceremony here at Huron is our opportunity to tell you, our students, that we take tremendous pride in all of you, and to thank you for your many contributions to the Huron community during your years here on campus. And to our graduates in particular, I extend the board's sincere congratulations. To our friends and family members here today, I extend my heartfelt thanks for the encouragement and support you have given our young people to help them succeed in their academic careers here at Huron. And to the Huron faculty, on behalf of the board, I extend my gratitude for the exceptional education you have offered our Huron students. Thank you, one and all. I will now call upon our president, Dr. Barry Craig, to introduce the members of our platform party and to greet the graduates. Once again, thank you very much for this honor, and please enjoy the ceremony.
Thank you, Brian. So delighted to see so many of you here today. Just remarking that just a few years ago when we had this event, it used to be held in the Kingsmill Room, which seats about 190 people. We have some 600 today with us between our graduates and their family and friends, and this is truly a wonderful occasion for all of us. So here's the deal. We're aiming to be done here by about 1:30, and after that, I'm going to invite all the graduates to join us out by the Eagle Tree of Peace in the circle, and we'll get a class photo together. That gives you all kinds of time to make it across the street. Ceremony doesn't start till 3 there, and you'll be able to get your gowns at Alumni Hall. So that's the game plan. And I want to introduce now the members of the platform party, and if you could just hold your applause till I've introduced all of them. First, on my right, Mr. Aryan Lackenpaul, President of the Huron University Student Council. Next to him, Dr. Dan Smith, Dean of Faculty of Theology, and tallest member of the Huron community. Brian Porter, Chair of the Huron Board of Governors. Ms. Adrienne Arsenault, recipient of this year's Honorary Doctor of Divinity. Dr. Jeff Reed, our Provost, Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and Vivek Prabhu, President of the Huron Alumni Association. Please join me in welcoming our platform party. And I also want to introduce you to somebody that I think probably all of you know, Jennifer Morocco, our registrar, and Jennifer will be assisting with the degrees and awards today. Now we begin this ceremony, very important occasion, and that is the awarding of an honorary degree. And I would like to present now the citation for this year's recipient of our honorary degree, Ms. Adrienne Arsenault. And Adrienne, if you could please stand. And I read the citation. This is the reason why we're awarding this degree today. Love of truth and love of our neighbor. Those are the ideals of Huron. Not memorizing an ideology of the left or of the right, but pursuing the truth, wherever that may lead, even if it changes us or makes us uncomfortable. The other side, the leaders with heart, means simply acting in a way that reflects the love of our neighbor, caring about and caring for other people. It was some years ago, or early in my time in Huron, I think maybe my first year, when I met Adrian at a coffee shop near the CBC building in downtown Toronto. So I knew something about Adrian then. I'd done my homework. And, obviously she was widely known as a senior correspondent at CBC and one of the hosts of the National. But her career has been one of the most outstanding ones ever in the history of journalism in this country. She's been deployed to some of the biggest breaking news stories and investigative stories in Canada and around the world. Her assignments have included both conflicts, politics, sports, human dramas. She won an Emmy in 2015 for her work covering the Ebola crisis. She's covered 7 Olympic Games for CBC, including Beijing in 2022 and Tokyo, as well as the FIFA World Cup. Her investigative work on security has seen her across Canada pursue stories around the globe, most recently being dispatched to cover conflict and war in Ukraine, Syria, and Mali. Adrian began her career at CBC in 1991 as an editorial assistant for the National. She's been posted to Jerusalem, Washington, London, and other places around the globe. She was named the Commonwealth Broadcasting Association's Journalist of the Year. She's won 2 Gracie Awards for Outstanding Female Correspondent, a Monte Carlo Festival Award for her coverage of the Zimbabwe election, several Gemini and Canadian Screen Awards. She's now the chief correspondent of CBC and host of the flagship program, The National. But during our first conversation, no, this isn't a retraction of everything I just said, Adrian, don't worry. But the reason why we're giving her this award day is not just because of all of the honors and awards she's piled up. In our conversation that day, I told her about our plans for Huron, and these were early days of some of the things we're going to do. And the ones that most interested Adrian were the ones that I was most passionate about. We wanted to create a more diverse community here at Huron. We wanted to increase financial aid so that barriers to students coming to study here could be brought down. I don't know if you all know this now, but Huron gives out financial aid based on need at twice the national rate of all the other universities in the country. Also, I said we wanted to open the door to students from around the world. At the time, we had only a handful of international students. Now, 1 in 4 students at Huron come from some 55 countries around the world. And we also wanted to emphasize leading with heart, serving others. Those were the plans we were generating, and Adrian was one of the people I talked to about early days, and those were the plans that I think she was interested in as well. And so, reflecting on our conversation as I drove back to London that day, I looked at Adrian's journalistic career in a different light, and I saw clearly 2 things. A rigorous commitment to finding the truth and showing it to everybody else, first discovering it and then sharing it. But then a focus on the human dimension of suffering. And if you watch her on air, as I have many times, you'll notice this. Not just statistics or geopolitical machinations, but a commitment to the truth that's nonpartisan, that's her mandate, but far from dispassionate. Her heart is always evident. So today we're awarding an honorary degree to Adrian Arsenault. As an academic award, it signals a commitment to truth. It's a doctorate. But it's a particular kind of degree. And this harkens back to Huron's roots in the church. It's a Doctor of Divinity, which is a weird thing. And you might think, okay, what does that mean? One religious tradition, at least, and many others, I believe, suggests that the nature of God is love itself. Thus, this particular degree, Doctor of Divinity, combines the intellectual side, a doctorate, with something else. It recognizes those who demonstrate in their lives care for others in a significant way. Adrian Arsenault's entire career has been a quest for the truth, and then displaying that truth, the truth she's witnessed, so that others might be both informed but also moved to create a better world. She's thus provided a model, I think, for all of you and for all of us. Pursue the truth, and then help build a better and more compassionate world. That's been her mission, and she's been tremendously successful at it. And Brian, I'll ask you to join us now. And you have the hood. That's key for all of this. By the way, folks, I want you to judge Mr. Porter on his performance here. We practice this in my office. You know, we've lost a couple of people over the years, and I just didn't want that to happen. So, Adrian Elizabeth Arsenault, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Vice Chancellor of Huron University College, I admit you to the degree Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa. Congratulations, Adrian. And now I'll invite Adrian to join me. She's going to sign the Golden Book. Look at this specimen. There's all the famous people that have visited Huron over the years, and we invite them to sign this, and now we add Adrian Arsenault's signature to it.
Their handwriting is fantastic.
And now I'll invite Adrian Arsenault to deliver the Convocation address.
Thank you so very much. I am so very tall, just so you know. Forgive me. Mr. Porter, Chairman of the Board, Dr. Craig, Huron faculty, the parents, the family members, and you wonders, the Huron class of 2023. What an honor to be here with you and to be on this Huron campus. There was a time when the solitary Tetris machine was the coolest element on the Huron campus, so clearly we've all come a bit of a long way. Let's get right to the important stuff. How many people have ever had the enormous good fortune to go to a Taylor Swift concert? Oh, look at you. I think there are some shy Swifties in here as well. So have you ever heard of the apparent amnesia that comes with it? It's called the post-concert amnesia. I am not making this up. There are consistent reports of people being so enchanted and overwhelmed by that incredible concert that they end up not entirely being able to remember what happened. It is that exciting. And I kind of think that's exactly what's going to happen here. Without the talent, of course, of Taylor Swift or the pyrotechnics or anything quite that cool, but otherwise exactly the same. Because there is an equally curious phenomenon that people rarely remember the substance of speeches delivered on Convocation Day, or worse, they don't remember the person who delivered them, which, if you're me, is not a great thing. Bit of an ego blow, but I have also sat exactly where you are, with my mom and dad nearby, so I get it. There is something in the air on this day. There's that push and pull between being with your friends and being with your families, some of whose wallets are on life support after ensuring that you are here. So they need your attention right now. You want to be done with the stress of school, but yet you don't want to let go. So there's a lot happening in the hearts and the heads over there, but I really wish you could see what we all see, which is that we see people who are going to be better than fine. Years ago, I was at Western talking with students about chance, about this idea that things you don't see coming might end up being the things that sometimes define parts of your life. And that for all the studying and the preparing that you do at school, it's chance that may ultimately change you. So that was almost a decade ago. I was pretty nervous, not just because I figured no one would remember what I was saying, that the whole Taylor Swift thing, unless you've already forgotten that, but also because being ready for the unexpected probably seemed a little strange to them, a little theoretical, but it's not to you. You have already sailed through one of the world's most astonishing and unexpected developments. COVID came at you hard. It isolated you at a time in your lives when the togetherness of the whole university experience was something you deserved. It stole from you. It maybe even stole people you love. And yet, look at you. You adapted, you innovated, and today you graduate. So whatever else is coming that no one sees coming, we all know you're going to be able to handle it. You know you're going to be able to handle it. I think this is a day where people are probably asking you, so now what are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? When they ask that question, you know that they're probably asking you, what are you going to do for a living? It's a good question. Okay, it's a fair question. But let's hope that is not the question that defines who you are. Maybe when wondering what we're all going to do, what we should be thinking about is what kind of people we're going to be. It's possible that people look at the job that I have and presume, well, there's a pessimist, right, if ever we've seen one. How could I not be a pessimist? I cover war. I was in Ukraine on the front lines in Bakhmut not long ago. I cover disasters, natural and man-made. I see a lot of really terrible things, but I am actually aggressively optimistic. And I've learned that the people who have the least give the most. And those whose liberties are really under attack, fight the hardest to cherish it. I meet all sorts of people who do the right thing only because it's the right thing to do, for no other reason, no expectation of financial reward or social credit. Those are the people who give me real hope. And it's such a simple concept. But it strikes me that just doing the right thing is something that we can all shoot for all the time. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently. A few days ago, I was in Plains, Georgia. So that's the home of Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States. He is 98 years old. He's been married for 77 years. And when he was asked not that long ago what he would consider his greatest accomplishment, he didn't say the presidency or anything associated with the presidency. He said he wanted to know that the last guinea worm on Earth would die before he did. That, he determined, would be his greatest accomplishment, which seems like such a strange thing to say. This is not a political endorsement, don't get me wrong. This is an endorsement of an act of humanity, because when the Carter Foundation was making plans for what to do around the world after his presidency, this is the 80s, someone approached him to talk to him about this disease that's been known since ancient Greece. It is a nasty waterborne illness. What happens is when people drink contaminated water, a worm can form inside them for up to a year. And I'll make this excruciating part brief. This worm has to work its way out of their skin. They cannot rip it, because if they rip it, it will create a debilitating infection. They just have to wait it out, and it can take up to 6 weeks. The pain of this is so terrible, farmers can't work, kids cannot go to school, it kills the spirit, even if it doesn't manage to kill the body. In the 80s, it was ruining the lives of 3.5 million people on the continent of Africa every year. So Jimmy Carter said, well, I think we can do something about this. There's no drug, there's no treatment, there was no money to be made, but for 40 years, he dedicated the resources of the Carter Center to work in communities all over the continent to simply encourage people to use a little piece of mesh between the water and drinking it, just to filter it out, that little piece of mesh. And this became an education campaign all over the continent. So 3.5 million cases in the 80s. Last year, there were 13. This year, there are none. If they go through one more year of no cases of the guinea worm, this will become the second disease on the face of the earth since smallpox to be completely eradicated. And all because he decided it was the right thing to do. And so he was just going to bloody well do it. So he may not live to see it eradicated, but he knows it's going to happen. And I think that gives him some comfort. That is compassionate leadership. That is what Barry talks to you about all the time. That's doing the right thing just because it's the right thing. I was in Ukraine a few months ago. I spent some time in Kherson, which had recently been taken back from Russian occupation. And we met a woman named Hanna Skripal. She was working in the Kherson Museum, only the museum was effectively empty because the Russians had entirely emptied it out. They had cut some of the canvases out of the frames. They were stuffing them into trucks and taking them into Crimea. She made the decision to stay behind and chronicle what little was there, protect those centuries-old frames in what she called the cemetery of the frames, to guard some of the works that they had missed. She was scared. She still is scared. She's alone, and yet she's the first one to tell you she just had to do it because it had to happen. It was the right thing to do to preserve as much of history as she can. These people make me feel so much better about the world, and so do you. I know we can't all do acts, commit acts that are quite this extraordinary, but we can work at doing the right thing and protecting what matters. This is undeniably kind of a tricky time in the world right now. There are more people in the world, for example, who live under autocratic rule than under democracies, and it is not trending in favor of democracies. There are a few dozen critical elections in the next few years around the world that might actually prove a tipping point. This is why the Nobel laureate Maria Ressa maintains that democracy may just have 2 years left. Because in all those countries with looming elections, it's the forces of misinformation, lies, and polarization that are driving wedges between people in every single country where those elections are happening and falsely pushing some towards autocratic rule. And it doesn't have to be like this. Maria maintains that we can do the right thing. We can promise each other we're going to listen to people we disagree with. We're going to resist the urge to just clap back at them with something clever. And when something makes us furious online, really angry, we're going to ask, who's benefiting from me being angry right now? Where does this information actually come from? How can we kindly, respectfully verify the facts? How can we promise to fight for something, not against something? So you don't have to eradicate a disease. You don't have to stand up in war and defend history, but you might. But I promise you, you will be faced with misinformation and the temptation to just fall for it as you're doom scrolling. But you can decide not to. You can decide to treat people with respect and hope that that respect becomes a force multiplier. And if I know Huron College, the notion of leading with heart has been bringing all of you to this realization that you can and will lead, and you can do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. I know a lot of you here have changed your own stories. The very act of being here has changed the course of your lives. This is a chance for you to change someone else's story too. So I wish congratulations to all of you. I cannot wait to see what you do for this world. And I'm going to start a timer on how long it takes you to forget everything we just talked about.
Aristotle observed in the Ethics that the moral virtues can't be possessed theoretically. You can't be theoretically generous or theoretically courageous. So it's always important when you meet somebody who has actually demonstrated courage, someone who has actually demonstrated how hard it is to do the right thing and does it anyway, because those virtues are real and they are the things that ought to drive us forward. And so hearing that from you, Adrian Day, is very important and very meaningful for me, and I think everybody in this room. So congratulations and thank you very much. We'll now move to the presentation of awards. If your name's called, then you'll come up to the stage to be recognized and receive your award. Jennifer Morocco is going to help me now and hand them to the presenters. Each presenter should come to the stage so the audience can see the presentation and we can get your picture taken and so on. And I would ask now Ms. Jennifer Flynn Clark to please join us on stage. The Sharon McKillop Residence and Student Life Award is presented annually to a student for their outstanding contribution to residence life and for exemplifying responsible leadership. The award is made possible thanks to the generosity of Sharon McKillop. This year's recipient is Emily Driscoll. If Emily could come forward. Now I invite Dr. Jeff Reed to come forward and present the next two awards.
Each year, Huron presents the Gold Medal for Proficiency in the 4-year program to the graduating student with the highest average in that program. This year's winner is Benjamin Victor Bryan. Please join me on stage, Benjamin. Benjamin is graduating with a major in economics. In addition to the gold medal, Benjamin will also receive the Caleb J. Hayhoe Jr. Award for gold medal students, which is an award made possible by Mr. Hayhoe himself, a gold medal winner in 1985. Benjamin is also our gonfalon bearer for both of today's ceremonies. So I'll give that to Barry. Each year, Huron also presents the Gold Medal for Proficiency in the honors programs, either in the four-year Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Management and Organizational Studies, to the graduating student with the highest average. This year's medal goes to William Avery Chapman Black, who is a graduate of our Bachelor of Arts 4 years honors program with an honors specialization in history, and like Benjamin, William will also receive the Caleb J. Hayhoe Jr. Award for gold medal students. Unfortunately, William is unable to be with us today, but I'll ask you to give him a round of applause.
The David H.M. Stewart Award was established by Ms. Gail Lockyer in honor of her father to recognize the highest academic excellence and extracurricular engagement in a member of the Huron community. It's with great pleasure that I award this year the David H.M. Stewart Award to Nikesh Alexander Mehta Spooner. Nikesh, stay here for a second. Nikesh is graduating Huron from a Bachelor of Arts honors specialization in history, a major also in global great books. He's a community builder, having demonstrated leadership with heart through his academic journey. Nikesh has engaged with a variety of extracurricular and community activities while maintaining exemplary academic standing. He's engaged with the Model United Nations, the Huron History Society, the Huron University Student Council, and is a member of the Huron Gender-Based Sexual Violence Prevention Committee. Congratulations, Nikesh. Let's go to the center and get a picture. I'd now like to ask Mary, Emily, and Megan Abbott to please join me on stage. It's my pleasure today to recognize a new award, the Neil S. Abbott Memorial Award. Established in memory of the late Neil S. Abbott, Huron graduate from the class of 1987, and somebody I was fortunate enough to know personally. This award is made possible with thanks to the generosity of Neil's family, friends, and colleagues, and with a gift from Gowling, WLG, where Neil practiced as a lawyer for close to 30 years. As we present the inaugural award, we're pleased to have Neil's family with us, including his wife, Mary, daughters Emily and Megan. And thank you to the family for making this award possible. This award will be presented each year to a graduating Huron student who has completed an honors program in the Faculty of Arts and Social Science. The recipient will be selected based on their academic achievements, demonstrated leadership at Huron, Western, and in the wider community, and students' contributions in serving as a mentor to their classmates and peers. These are qualities demonstrated by Neil throughout his life and career, during which he earned a reputation as a loyal friend, a devoted colleague, and committed mentor to the next generation of lawyers. For the inaugural Neil S. Abbott Award, I'd like to present Ziana Merchant-Katadia. I'll just read a word before we get our picture, give you a sense. Ziana is graduating from the BA four-year program, Honors Specialization in Global Gender Studies. She served as president of the Huron University College Student Council, vice president of University Affairs for the Western University Student Council, and has sought opportunities to develop her skills in research, critical thinking, academic writing, and has engaged with Huron's Center for Undergraduate Research and Learning, but also the inaugural chair of the Safe Campus Coalition. Ziana has demonstrated leadership throughout her career. We had many exchanges, and let me tell you, she had courage to stand up to me when I was wrong, and supported me when I was right. And so I'm delighted to present this to Ziana today. Each year, the Huron Students' Council selects a faculty member to receive the award for outstanding teaching. I'd like to ask Arian Lackampol, HUCSC President, to please rise to present this award. This year's HUCSC Outstanding Teaching Award recipient is Dr. Corinne Baudouin. Corinne, please join us at the front of the stage to receive your award. Now we invite Vivek Prabhu, President of the Huron Alumni Association, to say a few words to you, our graduates. Vivek.
Folks, I just want to say off the top, last night I was looking through my remarks and I thought back to 10 years ago when I was graduating here, and I feel old, and we were in the Kingsmill room. My, how things have changed. But what I took away from that is that I'm going to reduce the speech by about 50%, just because that's what I thought when I was sitting right here. President Craig, Mr. Porter, Dr. Reed, Dr. Smith, Ms. Arsenault, Mr. Lackampol, faculty, staff, donors, graduates, family, friends, and Huron alumni. I stand before you today to congratulate our graduates and their families on their remarkable academic achievement. On behalf of Huron's 10,000 plus alumni, I extend greetings and a warm welcome. This esteemed group, like you, once called Huron home, and today you join their ranks. Remember, you're students for a short time. It might have felt like forever in the last 4 years, but I can be certain that you'll be alumni forever. But just remember that the doors are open for you anytime, especially at homecoming, which you'll receive endless emails from me and everyone about, so stay tuned for that. But today we add your names to the ever-growing list of successful individuals who have used their Huron education to excel in various global careers, leading some of Canada's most trusted institutions and organizations, serving their communities, and challenging those who come after us to leave this world better than we did. Like previous alumni, you've been taught by exceptional professors who value debate, curiosity, and excellence. Huron fosters critical thinking, shapes future leaders, and encourages you to think and feel deeply. You've learned to be skeptical, yet not cynical, understanding that seeking truth, as we heard today, is an act of optimism. You're graduating at a time where the skills you have learned are going to make you more competitive in every interview round if you keep honing them, I promise you, especially in today's world. As you make your mark in the world, remember to return and share your accomplishments. You'll always be welcome back. And you see this gold book here. I have no doubt that all of you will be signing that one day. So once again, congratulations on behalf of the Alumni Association and best wishes for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Now we come to the special part of the ceremony where we recognize the graduating class of 2023. What's going to happen is that Dr. Reed will come to the podium, he'll be calling your name, and you'll cross the stage, and we'll certainly congratulate you, myself and our board chair. And do any of you still possess the Huron pin I gave you during your first week? Put up your hands. How many? Boldly. Wow, that's incredible. So in our ceremony today, we give you a pin because occasionally over the course of 4 years, people misplace it. So for those of you who still have your pin, find some time in the next, let's say month, to get a hold of me, and I will present you personally with a piece of hand-curated Huron swag in recognition of your diligence. So thank you very much. And so I would like an opportunity for everybody in this room to recognize, congratulate you, and celebrate your achievement. Could the class of 2023 please stand? So you may be seated, except for the people in front, and then you can stand again. Dr. Reed.
Benjamin Victor Bryan. Erdania Morgan Anderson. Nikesh Alexander Meda Spooner. Okay. Neku Aliasin. Asmatullah Azizi Arab. Ella Elise Benzi. Tiffany Faith Buckner. Nicole Roberta Buzzelli. Han Fei Chen. Michelle Vanessa Corredor. Desiree Adeline Diaz. Emily Nicole Driscoll. Mia Elizabeth Furland. Victoria Bonnie Adriana Fernandez. Mary Rose Fizzle. Rachel Lashley Fuller. Jason Donald Edward Gage. Helen Grace Goldberg. Jillian Sarah Hunnissett. Arib Sartaj Hussein. Uma Shem Jacobi. Jian Jiang. Ziana Merchant Kotadia. Dakshina Cannon. Dongfeng Li. Fugang Liu. Summer Malik. Andrew Austin McCann. Shanaki Neve McKenna. Sage Milne. Julia Lind Peer. Sanchi Shah. Evan Elaine Smith. Holly Sarah Kristen Steen. Paloma Terra Figueredo. Jordan Stewart Hunter Thompson. Victoria Keller Vandenbelt. Malika Rustam Vizavavela. Danielle Elaine Walls. Josephine Ann Windsor. Xiaomen Shoe. Aiden Christopher Ejiba. Jacob Owen Beach. Jatindra Butachara. Isaac Bohr Hirsch. Julia Leanne Conrad, Sarah Jane Denstead, Noah Lewis Whitman Gantz. Michael Peter Lopez Goodman, Ryan William Harmer, Amanda Lauren McDonald. Hiba Mukadam, Zain Abbas Nasir, Juliana Leslie Natali, Huishan Nyan, Elsie Marie Amondi, Ethan Alexander Prisco, Jacob Emerson Reed, Jack David Varney, Mavis Wu, Arthur Wu, Arthur Yang, Jeffrey Joseph Zhang, Kelsey Ashimye Impano, Zueshen Bai, Allison Gonzalez Baldos, Joshua Max Bernstein, Sukman Dillon, Jillian Maureen Douglas, Reese Matthew Gregory Finley, Sarinjan Gupta, Ajinkya Narugade Harugade. Sorry. Sophie Kirsten Carol Holland, Hannah Christine Mary Keller, Dylan Kidaime, Samuel Godwin Kinsella, Yu Chen Lee, Rowan Alexander McLaughlin, Ella Vittles. Oh, sorry, Alexi Michelle Magder, my mistake. Adnan Jamil Muftu Olu, Shanling Nicholson Oben, Hoiru Pan, Hannah Lily Wong Roden, Camille Yana Svelu, Hannah Celia Brayford, Arpan Kaur Daliwal, Nicole Emily Freeland, Isaac Henry Gaff, Hayden King, Caden Ashley Lowe, Isin Liu, Daniel Robin Tavetti Penman, Hadil Raje, Karanvir Segal, Sean Oliver Sharp, Christopher Michael Storino, Yuir Su, Jeffrey, Tyler Sun. I also hate being called Jeffy, so I'm sorry. Zaman Tejpar, Ali Ulasmis, Jeremy Yin. Jenna Bravo. Jonathan Fraser. Leaf Jacob Roy Jungaro. Alia Ali Shumina Rani. Scott Norman Rumble. And last but definitely not least, Tamara Yeaman.
Now, as the graduates will discover in a few minutes across the street, they frown on hoots and hollers and wild exclamations of joy. Here we positively encourage it. So can we give them another round, please? I'd like to call your attention to two guests and two dear friends that are with us today, and they're sitting in the front row, Francis and Angel Pang. Francis is a member of the Order of Canada, and Angel is one of the fewer than 20 people in Huron's 160-year history to win our Medal of Distinction. They're great donors and supporters of Huron, Francis and Angel. So this is record-breaking time. For that, I need to thank Dr. Arsenault. That was a very restrained speech in length. And so I'll remind everybody that for the graduates, go out, gather around the turning circle, the Eagle Tree of Peace, and we're going to get a great overhead shot from the roof looking down of the graduates, and then a chance to hang out. There's a reception. We can see family members and spend some time. We've got lots of time to make it across the street for the ceremony there. I want to thank the people who have made today's celebration possible, all the staff, volunteers, of course, and Jen Morocco, our registrar. Bill Lupton. Bill, please stand up. Bill played the piano for us as he does every year. Thank you. Our events team, our communications team, the IT team, the PA shop, housekeeping, maintenance, dining hall, all the people that work and have worked over 4 years to make your experience here special. Sean Raymond and Ann Turvey, of course, over yonder, thank you for everything you did, all the hustle and bustle of the last few days. Just before we go, I just want to underline again, once again, the words that we heard from Adrienne this afternoon and emphasize them and take them away and don't forget them, regardless of what she and her modesty suggests might happen. You all will have a chance to make a difference. Many have already made a difference in this community and in others, in things big and small. You won't have to pursue those opportunities. They will come to you throughout your life. And what will make us proudest of you as a Huron graduate is not simply your intellectual achievements, not how much money you're going to make or what job titles you ever have, but you're people that make a difference in your communities, that care about other people, that don't forget this opportunity you've been given, and then extend that opportunity like waves for the rest of your life to affect the people around you. That's what will make us proudest of you today. And I've gotten to know so many of you over your 4 years here. I have complete confidence that you are going to be that kind of person, one that does make a difference in the world around you. I want to thank you on behalf of this institution for everything you've brought to Huron. And I want you to know that we will continue to be here for you. After you graduate, you can reach out if you need to have us make introductions or connections, support in any way. We're here for that. And so I'll ask that the audience will remain in your seats. The academic procession will leave the room, and then we can go out in the turning circle for the photo, and before we make our way across the street. And so the Huron Faculty of Arts and Social Science celebration is now adjourned. And if the graduates would stand, we'll soon begin our procession.